Greetings, YouTube. Happy first day of June. Happy Monday. It is the first day of the month, and we know in the Marvel Contest of Champions community, that means that we will have several daily cards, monthly cards, whatever you want to call them, cards to grade, and keep that in mind. I do want to say, in 2019, 2018, we got almost half the months of the year some expectation that signature stones would be part of these daily cards. And I bought a lot of them, knowing that I needed them. But in 2020, because the signature stone economy has shifted and Kabam's tried to exploit it in a way by jacking up the prices and putting signature stone deals on separate days, we've seen a shift away from that. And so I'm really curious in June if we continue that trend or not. Okay, so we are starting... Let's see, with the $10 Catalyst Daily Card. You get one Tier 4 Basic right now, and then it looks to be 3 additional Tier 4 Basic over the course of the month. Tier 4 Class Catalyst Fragment Crystals, these things, they're such a low-valued kind of throw-in that they're not really even worth dignifying with the grade. 3 Tier 1 Alphas and 50,000 gold. So, when in doubt, look at the gold and think to yourself, is the gold actually reflecting what the price should be? In this first Catalyst Daily card, I believe the answer is yes. Not that this is the worst $10 deal we've seen, because we've seen far worse in May, but at the same time, every $10 you spend on the game, you should get a minimum of 100,000 gold. Minimum. So if it's saying you only get 50,000 gold from this, I'm going to say it's worth $5. If you spent $5 on 3 Tier 1 Alpha and a total of 3 after a month Tier 4 Basic and some Tier 4 Class Catalyst Fragment Crystals, then I'd say that's worth $5. They've doubled the price. The gold has tipped the hand on what this is maybe worth, but they've doubled the price. If this was $5, I'd give it at least a C+, a little bit better than average for a $5 deal. But $10, no. I'm going to give this a generous D-, and it's only not an F because $10 is actually a smaller price than they tried to have us pay for these things a few weeks back, which was $20, which was just flat out criminal. But this is still at least $5 too high. It's twice as much as it should be. All right, now let's go to the Superior Catalyst Daily Card, a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha for $30. That is, of course, over the duration of a month. 2 Tier 4 Class Catalyst Selectors and half of another Tier 2 Alpha. 5 Tier 1 Alphas and 300,000 gold. So at least they got the gold ratio to retail price in this one. So remember how there was a bunch of debate about the real value of the 5-star rank 3 to rank 4 rank up gem? If they had just put the same items that you get from that rank up gem in a package like this, where you could actually use them on 6-star champions as well, because I heard from some of you it was really good feedback and made me write down that feedback for future deal evaluations, which was, Prof, I don't think this is the worst deal, but at this point I'm not ranking up any more 5-stars, so if you can't give me those Tier 2 Alphas and those Tier 4 Class Catalyst Selectors to use on my 6-stars, I'm out. So they've gone back to using these on a basis of, say, a normal deal, but at the same time, it is over the course of a month. Now, $30 for 1.5 Tier 2 Alpha. First off, I think it should be 2 fully formed Tier 2 Alpha. 1 immediately, and then maybe another one formed over the course of the month. If that was the case, you would lower the price of what we discussed in the last deal from $17.50 per Tier 2 Alpha to $15. And that'd be really positive. I also think this needs to be 3 Tier 4 Class Catalyst Selectors, so that they're $10 a piece instead of $15. That's quite high for Tier 4 Class Catalyst, especially because so many of you have told me that you don't need Tier 4 Class Catalyst right now. You've got plenty in your inventory overflow. Now, of course, that doesn't reflect what I like to call the middle class of MCFC, which is people who are starting to maybe take 5 stars to rank 3 and rank 4 and finishing off maybe the last of their progression of their account to take 4 stars to rank 5. 5 tier 1 alphas is fine. 300,000 gold is fine. I'm not that upset about this one, but it should be 3 Tier 4 class catalysts and 2 Tier 2 alphas if you really want to make it a solid deal. But because it's less than that, I'm going to give this a generous C-. So we go from a D- to a C-. Maybe the next one will be a B- if we're going for progression's sake. Okay, $50. This gets you 13,500 Tier 5 basic catalyst fragments total, which is honestly not that much. Another case where you get a fully formed Tier 2 alpha, 13,500 right now. So if you combine the two, you get 27,000 Tier 5 basic in total for $50 over the course of a month, and then a fully formed Tier 2 alpha. So this brings the price of Tier 2 alpha to some of the better we've seen over the course of a month, but it's still $25 a piece and 500,000 gold, which, again, 100,000 gold per $10 of purchases, data-wise, is the retail price for gold in Marvel Contest of Champions. So this is a deal that I think before the Glory Store changes, I would have given at least a B. It sucks, obviously, that you have to wait a full month to form these items, particularly the Tier 2 Alpha, and in total 13,500 Tier 5 Basic when you count the 450 over the course of 30 days. But when you look and remind yourself of what you can get in the Glory Store if you're uncollected and above, and we'll revisit this in a second, who's even has access to this, you've got to remind yourself that it's very easy now to get a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha for starters. So if you were to get 5 of these, 1,750 glory gets you a fully formed Tier 2 Alpha for free. On top of that, Tier 5 Basic, if you were to get all 5 of these, you would get half of a Tier 2 Alpha, which is, or half of a Tier 5 Basic Catalyst, which is 22,500 Tier 5 Basic Catalyst fragments. That's with the Glory Store for free. So when you think about people who are uncollected and above who have those Glory Store changes, and I think the average summoner that plays map 5 and above gets at least 4,000 glory or more in an Alliance Quest Rewards week, you've got to think that this used to be worth $50. And maybe to some people it still is. I'm not discounting that, especially if you're in like a map 3 or map 4 Alliance. But to those of you who aren't, this is probably worth closer to $30 now than $50. And I know that Kabam is going to hate me saying that because they want to keep the market of both of these items still pretty high. But it is what it is. If you're patient with the Glory Store now, and you are able to hoard your glory only for Tier 5 Basic Catalyst Fragments and Tier 2 Alpha, you're going to be able to get more, far more, over the course of a month than these items for free. And so, because of that, I personally don't have the same level of desperation and motivation to get this $50 deal as I did 6 months ago. And that is a credit to the Glory Store changes, but that's also revealing how the price of this is just simply too high now. I would rate this at the highest that it could be over the course of 30 days, if you're not giving it to us all at once, $29.99. So I'm also going to give this, for the sake of those of you who are uncollected and above, a C-. And so with the tradition now of signature stones being taken away from these deals, particularly those of you out there who are really just thirsty for 6-star 6 stones, you're going to find yourself more and more, unless on special super deal holidays that still have signature stones like July 4th, Cyber Weekend, and the new spring cleaning event, you're going to find yourself just not really feeling that ambitious about purchasing these deals. It's not going to help your prestige unless you really need the items to rank up that 6-star to rank 3. But my guess is most people aren't going to be that desperate for this kind of deal. And then this is going to force Kabam to make more money off of those middle tier players that are trying to progress faster and maybe don't have access to map 5 and above alliances. But when we look at these Catalyst daily cards, we have to remind ourselves that the one that is the most expensive is for those of you who are uncollected and above. So the Glory Store changes are only for those of you who are uncollected and above anyway. So you're really just not motivating a lot of players at this point to spend $50 on something that if they're patient, they can get far more value of for free over the course of that month in Alliance Quest. So it disappoints me that we now have a business model that is anti-Awakening Gems and Signature Stones in a monthly calendar when it used to be that. I get that Kabam maybe thinks that those aren't going to be as popular anymore because of things like featured Cavalier Crystals and even regular Cavalier Crystals having far more access to 5 stars and 6-star champions. But in reality, I think at this point, from everything I've heard from especially the quote-unquote in-game community, if you were to have a $50 bundle that had 20,000 5-star shards and maybe 2,000 6-star shards, and then even just one generic 5-star signature stone every day with a class-based 6-star signature stone, this would sell like hotcakes. But because it's not, you're forcing the in-game community to just be like, yep, I would have bought that in 2019, maybe definitely 2018, but 2020 now, nope, saving my money for just the patience of the Glory Store, which will be for free. That's my analysis. Couple of C minuses and a D minus. It's a disappointing way to start June, but it is what it is.